So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. The purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote, yes, bald as ever. The purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I'll say a big giant thank you, welcome, and hello to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. And not only are you just viewers, you are family and sometimes participants. And if I do share the link and your profile looks like this, please show me this. Especially if I've never seen you on here before. And if you're not comfortable, you can go back to that. Just know that no one else can see you but me, not even Donovan, until I bring you up to the big screen. Today, we're going to be talking about a young sister. You guys have probably seen the video floating all over the internet. It's been brought to me a few times. I actually covered it today on the African Diaspora News Channel. But it's of a young sister. She's 16 years old, made to stand up in front of the church and apologize. A lot of people have different opinions. A lot of people are upset about it, just to say the least. So I know this is a very controversial, it could be, I guess, topic, but I don't mean to be controversial, but I want to have a conversation about it, see what we can learn from it, and everything else in between. Hey, Brother Reggie, how you doing? Monet, what is going on with you? In the meantime, I'll pass over to Donovan because I'm jacked up in the throat, because as I was on here, I was talking to Donovan, I was taking my vitamins, and it went down the wrong hole, the water. And so it's going to take me a minute for my my voice to come back, because he had jacked me up. But Donovan, what say you?
Yes, happy Sunday. And again, give it a few minutes to adjust, and you'll get it going. It is 3:00 here. Fires are still raging in California, by the way, for you guys that don't know, and it's really unfortunate. I want to give this announcement out real quick. The areas that are being burned isn't just a bunch of rich, magnified people. The city of Altadena, which technically is where a lot of the middle-class Blacks in Los Angeles moved to and really built up. It was their neighborhood. It was the first, where the middle class went. Completely destroyed. So it isn't all these people that got millions of dollars. I'm seeing people on posts saying, oh, well, the rich people, so what, whatever the deal is. You've got, there are regular people that live in these areas that homes have been destroyed. So as somebody who lives in California, I'm watching the news on it locally, constantly getting different reports. That is actually what's going on here. Locally, regular people just like yourselves, homes are being destroyed. The insurance companies have been warning California. The insurance commissioner just put a moratorium on the renewing of the insurance policies, because in the areas that are being burned right now, because it was a fire hazard area, and the insurance companies kept telling the Democratic mayors and stuff like that, we're not gonna, we're getting out of here. We're not gonna be covering this stuff. We're not gonna be covering this stuff. They just put a moratorium on it, but the insurance companies were saying exactly what is actually happening, and now it's actually happened. And again, I'm not trying to beat up the Democrats. This is I'm talking about just negligence on the leadership, and unfortunately, California is a Democratic state. It is very rare you're going to find Republican mayors in enclaves in California. So you have to blame this on the policies of what it is. Reservoirs were empty. I mean, it's been a total calamity here. So big ups and prayers to those guys. But let's get to the show here. We've been doing this for quite a while now. If you guys want to continue to have these great conversations, there's a way you can do it. There's a scrolling banner at the very bottom. You guys see it. It says, please donate. You can do it Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys want to do it. It does take time and effort for Demetra and content creators to put their product out. And anything you guys can donate is always appreciated. And to those of you guys who have continually donated and have donated in the past, we gladly thank you, because we got another announcement we're going to bring up real quick. I'm going to say it right when I get done with this little stuff. Because of those donations, we continue to do these great conversations. So big ups to you guys. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You guys can get that on the Apple Play and the Google Store. That way you guys can go and continue to see Demetra K, Brother Phil Scott, Wongel, and a whole bunch of plethora of new people. Phil just hired. I guess he hired some people down in Africa and some Caribbean areas and stuff. And they're going to be telling us what's going on all around the diaspora. So back to my original announcement here for those of you guys that don't know, because Demetra's a very modest person. She is doing great things. She's doing very, very great things. And I want to tell you guys, when you think nobody's watching your videos or what we're putting out, people are watching and they're listening. So again, Demetra is doing great things and doing great movement. But I will say, all rights to Demetra K is reserved to me. So I'm going to put this on the public platform. All rights to Demetra K is me. Any negotiations, any offers for Demetra K to work for MSNBC or Fox News or whatever. I have to get my cut. I have no problem cutting her loose, but until I get my cut, she is where she's at. This is going to be a very interesting topic. I know everybody's going to have an opinion on it. I have an opinion on it, and we might not agree on these topics, but let's just throw around these ideas. So, Demetra, let's get into it.
And hello, everybody. I couldn't see y'all until a second ago. I had to go on to YouTube to see you, but I refreshed, and so I can see you guys' comments now. So forgive me for not acknowledging everybody, but I do see you. So let me get into it, and then I'll start all over. Guns Tip, how you doing? Long time no see. Easy. Who else is on here? Brother Damon, Gary Mack, Wild Williams, Queen Adaya, Brother Reggie. I say hello, but I'll say hello again. Brother Don, how you doing? CJ, what's going on with you? Daryl, Fantasy, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Nubian King, Sister Shirley, and Mike Nice. I know I probably skipped somebody, but I didn't mean to, but I'll circle back around. Anyway, as I said, there's been this video going around social media, I don't know, probably for the last week or so, of a 16-year-old girl who was made to stand up in front of the church and apologize to the congregation. Now, the name of the church is True Vine Apostolic Church of Christ. It's in Hampton, Virginia, under the leadership of Pastor Terry Jackson. And it sounds like between him and her mother, she was forced to apologize. So I'm going to show you about a minute or so of the apology and something else that the pastor had said. So here we go.
I want to apologize to everybody in here because I am pregnant. I'm sorry, y'all. And I just hope that y'all all forgive me and keep on praying for me.
They say, how soon shall you repent? Then. You never wait later to repent. If you sin, you don't wait no 2, 3. You don't wait till the baby come to repent. You repent now. You just don't do it again. But you got to repent. I don't care how you look at it. You already know what time it is. I told her, it's not what you think it is. But the church praying for you. We ain't gonna condone your sin now. We ain't gonna do
that. So yeah, as y'all saw there, that was the pastor and the 16-year-old girl in question. She basically says, that she's sorry and she hopes that you all forgive me. And then, of course, the pastor said what he said. In addition, that was not there. He was like, you will not be having no baby shower. Basically, we're not going to be rewarding this type of behavior. That's just not what we do, right? And so, of course, the mother, she came into the conversation because a lot of people were like, well, what about her mom? Where is her mom? And how dare them, blah, 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 blah. And the mom said, to everyone that's concerned, we greatly appreciate it. However, I do want you to know that you are all interrupting my peace, and it's causing more damage than good. You all are showing up, disrupting my church, my beliefs, and disrespecting my pastor. I am where I want to be and where I choose to be. We are not forced or manipulated to stand before the congregation. My daughter willingly approached the congregation and was welcomed and embraced with open arms. I stand on what I've been taught, and I'm raising my daughter to do the same. She says, I stand with the pastor. Now, I looked up the term apostolic church, because that's what it is. It says it's a Christian denomination, a church founded by an apostle, and a church that emulates first century Christianity. So if you notice there too, and I've met a few people that's were, I guess, of the apostolic denomination, and they're always with skirts on and things like that. And as I said, I know this is very controversial. And I spent a copious amount of time in the church. And when I see something like that, it's very disturbing. Because first of all, she says, will you all forgive me? And it's like, do you need forgiveness from all of them? Or you need forgiveness for Jesus, God? Like, who are we asking for this forgiveness from? I just also have a hard time believing that she wanted to stand up in front of that church and apologize to everybody. Now, I've also saw a lot of people ask about the father of the child. Maybe he doesn't go to the church. I don't know. Maybe he does. But that's not anything new either. I remember my mom, she said when they were kids, that when girls would come up pregnant, like in the neighborhood or whatever, they would ship them off to the auntie or somebody like that for the duration of the pregnancy, and then they would come back as if they didn't have the baby, right? Because I guess it was some sort of a shame involved in that. They didn't want the neighborhood or whoever to know, the church, that their daughter was pregnant, as a teenager or whatever the case was. So she went off to have the baby and came back as though nothing happened. But, I want to have a conversation with y'all. Now, most of y'all saw my video on the African Diaspora News channel. I'm not a fan of it. If that was my daughter, and that's not my daughter, but if that was my daughter, I wouldn't have had her do that. As I said in my coverage of it, it's hard to be pregnant at 30, let alone 16, and made to be shame about that. Is there some shame in that? Sure, there's some shame in that. But like I said, I have a lot more questions and stuff, and I'll get to them as we go. But I want to get to you guys' commentary. Let me see who else is on here. Donovan, Troy, how you doing? Before I give it to you. Just to acknowledge everybody. Wow, Williams, did I say hello? If I did not, hello. I think that I did. Let's see. Brother Samuel, how you doing? I'm just looking at some of y'all comments real quick. I ain't gonna say nothing. Lady Diana, how you doing? 48 TCO, how you doing? I see you, Lottie. I got some comments. Yanni, what's going on with you? Clifford, how you doing? Okay, I think I got everybody so far. Donna, how are you? Hope you're doing well still. What's going on with you? Al Jackson, what's going on? I see y'all comments, but I'm gonna give it to Donovan. His ghetto point of view, how you doing? Soto, what's going on with you? And Dirt Wilson, how you doing? Bakari, hey, how you doing? And I think I got to the bottom. Okay. Now, if y'all want to put your comments back in the comment section after I give it to Donovan, please feel free to do so. I just couldn't read them all. I'll be behind. Hey, Facts Not Feeling, how you doing? And Craig, what's going on with you? JJ, what's going on? Okay, Donovan, and y'all want to hold y'all comments so I can read them? That would be good too. What's your opinion?
Well, again, depending on what your faith is and whatever, it's easy for us to sit there and talk about a religion that we're not a part of and whatever their rules and their stipulations are. You've got to have standards when you start an organization and rules and all kinds of stuff. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I got family members of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I know that in the Jehovah's Witness community, they will disassociate themselves from the perpetrator of whatever the situation is. That's their rule. Who are we to judge that? It's easy to sit there and say, oh, they shouldn't do this. That's based on your beliefs and your values. Their values is totally different. So the way I look at it is, I really don't have an opinion on this because I'm a Catholic by faith. And but I will say this, as a Catholic, in my experience when I was younger, when a girl did end up pregnant, and of course there ain't a lot of Black Catholics compared to the other groups in the Catholic Church. It wasn't like it was something that was celebrated or whatever. I mean, you know, she wasn't necessarily shunned, but she isn't a child anymore, so she's treated in a different. Basically, she couldn't go to what do you call that? Kid school, Sunday school. She couldn't do that anymore. She has to hang with the adults and all that other stuff like that. But yeah, this is a controversial topic, and everybody's going to get emotional about it. And like I said, I'm staying in my lane of being a Catholic, and like I said, bring shame Black to the Black community. Yes, I'm all for that. Now, if I like what they did, if I didn't like what they did, it's really not for me to say. I will say this though, as a Catholic, we are taught to confess our sins to a man. We could do it to God too, but we're taught to confess it to a man. That's how our religion is taught. We go to the priest, hey, 5 Hail Marys, couple of Our Fathers, you're good to go. Then I go sin again and come back the next week. See, so it's just whatever your organization's guidelines are, that's how you roll. So who are we to judge that? Now, land my plane there.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to some of these comments that I skipped. JJ says, I grew up in the church. Oh, let me take this one down. Says, I grew up in the church when I was a kid. Half the young boys my age and probably even the girls bragged while in church how sexually active they were. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of times that does go on to the church. In the church, I think because a lot of times, you know, things are hidden from people instead of them being told the truth. See, you know, I can always tell y'all at the age of 53, I've never heard the birds and the bees. I've never heard that story. My father being Nation of Islam, you know, myself being born into the Nation of Islam, I never heard that story of the birds and the bees. I don't even know what the birds and the bees was doing. I heard the truth on how procreation works and stuff like that. So sometimes, you know, children are robbed of the truth because I don't know, for whatever reason, people, especially when it comes to talking about sex, people think that is dirty or they're not ready for that just yet. So we're going to wait and see and, you know, give them some time. But then they learning about it from school and, you know, a whole host of other things instead of from you, their parent, you know, telling them how it is. CJ says, what has annoyed me about this, though, is how people complain about Christians being hypocrites. Now that there's a church preaching against sin, everyone is upset about that, too. Yeah, no, I think most churches teach against sin. I think most churches do that. That's the job, right? Me personally, I have a problem with it. I think it's humiliating. I mean, I think most people can see that she's pregnant. You know, I do agree that once they become, you know, pregnant or whatever, they should not mingle amongst the children. That's what I was taught when I was going to church, you know, and, you know, little Susie or whatever becomes pregnant, then yeah, she needs to go into the big sanctuary with adults and, you know, learn of adulthood because she's going to be a mother and all of that. But I definitely do not agree with shaming because, you know, in that case, and I don't know, I'm just saying, it just looks like the shame was all on a little girl. You know, she has a parent. Where's her dad? Where's the little boy? You know, and I don't want to get into the stuff the pastor be doing, you know, passed up in a pool pit, telling the congregation of what to not to do when he got 14 babies in the church and none of them belong to the first lady. I'm gonna just keep reading. And Easy, you say, you know, all them hats talking under their breath after she announced she was pregnant. Yeah, you know, the mother gang, the motherboard, right? Lord knows they could write a book themselves. Anyway, Dirt Wilson, he says, if this lady had done her job in teaching not to ever have unprotected sex, this would have never happened. But some people don't believe in the Bible and they love to basically disrespect God. Well, I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about her or mother or me, I mean, there's cases where people do tell their children not to do it and they do it anyway, right? It's not a perfect world. Sometimes things happen, right? But she's already, you know, in a sense holding the shame, but to get up, and I don't even know how the video got out. Somebody was in that church, you know, that's sitting under the pastor didn't like it and they released that video for whatever reason. So I don't know. All right, let me go all the way to the bottom, y'all, so that we can kind of start over. And still, I like what you said. It says religion should not weaken you. I totally agree with you. It should not. And I think if that was me, yeah, I would feel a certain type of way. You know, I would be hurt behind getting up there. Like I said, I have a hard time believing she wanted to get up there and you know, ask for everybody's forgiveness. Because my thing is, are y'all gonna all take care of this baby with me? You know, that's just me. All right, let me get to the bottom. The average logical thinker, how you doing? Says, oh, great topic. Glad you guys are covering it. Yeah, a few people asked me about it. Queen of Diet says, you call out the sin, but there is a way to do it. Come on now. Says, what does the Torah say on how it's handled? If the young man doesn't attend the church, he should have been invited to stand with her to speak on it. I'm glad somebody got some sense. But you're absolutely right, you know, because the baby came from somewhere, you know. I ain't gonna say nothing else because I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me in trouble. 48 TCO, he says, if that baby came out looking like Benjamin Button, we know you crazy because you almost kind of read my mind. You know what I mean? Soda says people make mistakes. Having her apologize to a group of sinners is foul. Come on now. All right, so let me skip down just a little bit so I can catch up. Brother Samuel says, one wonders the origin of such practice. Was it something instituted from slavery? Was it from the slave master had rules for breeding? We were the moral authority in America. I also say reminds me of one women caught in adultery in the Bible, or also like the Scarlet Letter, right? That's what it kind of reminds me of, like a Scarlet Letter type of situation. His ghetto. He says, I notice how all the sisters are defending this madness. Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly what madness. I'm not defending a 16-year-old getting pregnant. I mean, she's pregnant. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I said, it's already hard enough to be. Hell, I was pregnant at the age of 21. It was hard. I'd imagine, you know, most people in the 20s and 30s and 40s be like, oh, I had no idea, right? Because when you're playing with Barbie dolls and stuff like that, it's cute in theory. You put them in the toy box and you pick them back up later on, but a baby is a whole lot different. So, Kelly, how you doing? Says, I never heard of the birds and the bees. Me either. S. Edgy, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. All right. Gerard, how you doing? She was 16, or she is 16. 48 TCO says that religion is too strict. She pregnant by somebody in the church. Her week full of church and Bible reading activities. Trust me. I don't know. Lady Diana says, I went to one of those churches when I was visiting Alabama. The men, one room, women in another service, no music, makeup, pants. They claim to have, they claim not to have sex before marriage, but they do. Well, I mean, they all do, right? All right, let's see. Facts. I feel says, I got my girl pregnant when I was 19 and we were both going to church. I married her because she threw it back like, like no other. But damn, after a few years, she changed. Never again. Well, you know, people change. The average logical thing, it says, okay, what's the pastor doing? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Brother Reggie, the Big Hat Gang, JJ, says there are some preachers who pick and choose certain church members to embarrass or humiliate. Yeah, but I guess a lot of people don't think that, you know, that was humiliating. And Al says, what about the baby being healthy is more important? Good point. Anna, I hope I said that right. How you doing? Says they were live streaming it. Okay, so they were live streaming. Got you. To me, it wouldn't seem like if you needed to have her be contrite about what happened, why not just pull her behind closed doors with the pastor, her mom, or whatever, and have that conversation, but stand up in front of the church and your live streaming is, I really can't get behind that. Frederick, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Ani says, if the boy don't go to the church, he don't have to follow the rules of the church. So I disagree with that. Yeah, but did they invite him? You know? Raven, how you doing? Says, wow, apologizing to a room full of perfect people who can assign her to hell. God, the creator, is the only one she should ask for forgiveness from. Religions have really been used to cripple our people. Many examples, not enough time. Might have been an old dude who knocked her up. Who knows, right? I guess only time will tell. Corey Smith, how you doing?
Yeah, see, and there we go. See, everybody's going into what their value system is and how they were raised. How many religions are in the world? Hundreds of them. And they have a standard how they do that. Who are we to tell them how to run their business? I mean, yeah, we can have an opinion. That's great.
Well, they shouldn't have live streamed it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Whoever live streamed it, whatever the deal is. We can have an opinion because it is public and public knowledge. But the mere fact of the fact is, it's just like these Mormons who have multiple wives. Nobody has a problem with that because that's their religion. Those people that have the snake people, nobody, you know, everybody has an opinion about it, but nobody does anything to stop them. It is their religion, and that's what they believe. That's what they're taught to believe. America is supposed to be about religious freedom. You know, all you can do is just shake your head and say, well, you know, thank God my religion doesn't do that. I mean, at least that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, if they didn't want us to talk about it, they shouldn't have live streamed it. So we talking about it. Yes, there's a lot of religions that do X, Y, Z. Then that's why I don't subscribe to religion. You know, I subscribe to a whole lot of stuff, but just religion is not one of them. And the other thing too is, you know, where was your daughter? Where is she getting knocked up at 16? See, that's the other problem too. Parents don't want to have a conversation. Where is your daughter or your son, you know, right now? Most people don't even know. The kids are just running wild, footloose, fancy free. Now, can you watch your children all the time? I think you could try, but that's what I want to know. Where was she at to where she was, you know, in that I was gonna say something else, but able to have that happen. His ghetto point of view says, Demetria, maybe if we have more hurt feelings in the church, perhaps we have less young mothers without a ring on their fingers. Do we want to fix the community or not? It's dying. I don't know if necessarily the church is the place to do it. The church, well, maybe it is what it used to be back in the day. I think you should learn that stuff from home, right? She's 16. So somehow, some way, she was unsupervised and she was out there. I think that's more of a conversation for a parent. Why is your daughter out there anywhere unsupervised long enough for her to even be getting knocked up in the first place? See, what we're not going to do is put the onus all on the 16-year-old, because after all, she is a child. See, that's the problem with our community too. We don't want to talk about what children should be learning at home. Oftentimes we go to church and leave everything to the church. We leave everything to the church for them to teach us things that we should be teaching at home. So, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of people with rings in on and off their fingers, not necessarily in the church. But the other side of the conversation is, well, y'all talking about the little girl. Where the little boy daddy had to say you knocked her up? You need to put a ring on her finger. Where's that conversation? See, I'm cool with the shaming as long as we shaming everybody else. Because as I always say, y'all got so much to say about the women. Y'all got so much to say about the girls, but nothing about your sons knocking these little girls up or knocking these women up and not putting a ring on their finger. When are y'all going to start teaching that message? See, that's the time we on right now.
See, well, I got an answer for you. You want to know why? Because of the patriarchy. We live in a patriarchy. Men are men, and they're going to do what they're going to do. This society is based on the patriarchy. Most societies are based on the patriarchy. You show me a matriarch society or Amazonian society, just like if you read up on Amazonian society, women dictate in the mythological thing of an Amazonian society, women dictate, you know, sex and all that other stuff, and they run the show. I'm just giving you the factual answer because we're in a patriarchy.
You didn't ask me as to why y'all as men are not teaching your sons when you knock these little girls up to make them an honest woman and put a ring on their finger. That the Amazonians, Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez, or whoever has nothing to do with y'all as men teaching y'all sons when you get a woman or a little a girl your age or whatever knocked up, then you need to go on and get married and do the right thing. Figure out a way how to take care of your young family since you were being irresponsible and y'all created a life. When are y'all going to have that conversation?
Right. But I just told you why we don't have the conversation, because it's a patriarchy and men can do this and that. And it's no big deal. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that is why the men aren't being held accountable, because we are in a patriarchal society. Yeah, we're in a patriarchal society. Men run the show. I'm not saying it's right.
So if you're running the show, can you tell your sons, since you're running the show, when you knock a woman up, you need to make her an honest woman. I don't care if you like her or not. You liked her at least for 2 minutes. So you need to put a ring on her, marry her, and then y'all go raise your family. And since y'all being so patriarchal, because I think that's what part of manhood is. You're telling your sons, you made a mistake. Now you need to go make it right.
Right, and it used to be that way back in the day, and some people are still doing it today. But in general, that isn't being done. Women are raising the families, especially in our community and stuff. And I'm not making no excuses. Again, it's right or wrong or whatever. Because we are in a patriarchal society, men are not held to a standard that the women are. That's just how it is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying we're not held to the same standard.
I'm going to keep reading. All right, so let me skip on down. Talk with me. How you doing? Says no disrespect to you, D, but are they married? Says are the married? I don't. You might want to rewrite your comment. Did I say hello to you? One who cares if not, how you doing? All right, skipping on down. Asha, how you doing? Says I lead that so-called church. Brother Reggie says I never heard of the birds and the bees mess either. We are in health class watching babies born on video and learning about VD. Same here. Like I said, I've always known about procreation from a child. You know. Hey, don't ask me how you doing. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? Says where is this church and what state? Without denomination, Hampton, Virginia, Apostolic Christian Church is what it is. Andre, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Lillian, what's going on with you? Says Little Kim is original Queen Bee. You crazy. Miss Sweets, how you doing? His ghetto point of view says Donovan facts is religion, religious freedom, and they got the right to reprimand their congregation. I think he meant members as they see fit. Yes, absolutely. But when you live stream it, now we talking about it. You know, if you want to keep the conversation in the confines of your church, then you shouldn't have live streamed it. Especially having a little girl get up there and have it apologize for getting pregnant. I'm just saying. The CJ says, thank you, Ms. D. The mother should have gone up there too if she felt it was necessary. Yeah. Brother Reggie says, study up on the Scientology. He said, kooks, that's some wild mess. Yikobo, how you doing? Says religion is a spell on the minds of our people. Somebody got to break it with the truth. Yep. Dirt Wilson, he says, I want to know where is the father of the kid. I don't think nobody should be forced to announce a setting church. It was shameful on the parents and the minister, but too many people in the church are liars. Yeah. CJ says, but get this, teens aren't the main ones becoming single moms anymore. Look it up. You're right. Actually, that number is dropping. So you're right. Mike, nice. Thank you so much for reminding people to hit the like. I love you for that. Lady Diana says, I have no religion. Instead, I'm a highly spiritual person. Love for the spirit of God. I got you. Okay, so you asking CJ, are you married? Okay. Sister Shirley says she should not have been shamed for what is natural. She probably going to need a baby shower. No, they said that she's not getting no baby shower. I mean, I don't have a problem with her not getting a baby shower because I'm one of those people. It's like if you unwed and you keep having babies, don't invite me to the second, third, fourth, and fifth baby shower. I'm not coming. I might come to the first one, but I'm not going to keep rewarding you for having babies out of wedlock. You having 19 baby showers and no daddy around. Not me, you know. So I kind of get that, but yeah, being 16, she can't work. If she does work, it's probably somewhere minimum wage stuff. So there's a lot going on with that, you know. I want to says they were live streaming the whole service, but I think they should have shut the live stream down before doing that. I totally agree with you. Brother Samuel says the principle is good, but the practice of how they address it should be refined sooner. So you can change a man until you shame a man. Yeah, I get that ideology as well, but nowadays it's hard to shame people. The stuff that people are doing nowadays. Even us back in the day wouldn't even dare do. Mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, they wouldn't even think of doing it. I mean, nowadays walking out the house in a bonnet and our house shoes and a wife beater is normal. Our parents and grandparents, you know, wouldn't even go check the mail like that. So his ghetto point of view says 16 is a child in the Black community and the Jewish community. That one runs everything. She'd be an adult at 13 after her bar mitzvah. The boy would be a man as well as after the bar mitzvah. Yeah, I think there's certain, I think, you know, from the cradle, you should be teaching your children about how to be an adult. You shouldn't wait until they're 17 and now you want to teach them all about being an adult. That's something they learn from the cradle. But I guarantee you that even then, they in that faith, they don't think it's all right for their children to be out there at such young ages having sex and getting pregnant. So I get what you're saying, but you know, then I don't. Frederick says in some cultures that would have been cause for honor. Yes, honor. Y'all know what it is. Not that I agree or disagree. Yeah, that some day they get down like that while letting the boy make it. You know. Soda says, I'm not a parent, but even I know you can't watch your kids 24/7. That I totally agree with. But I think you should know where your children are. And a lot of people don't. They don't even know where their children are. A lot of people don't know where their children are right now. Brother Sam says, however, in her mind, the spirit should be protected while she's fashioning new life. A nation can rise no higher than its woman. Yeah, Tito says, I tell the young cats, get your own place. Yacobo says, pull up your britches, young bucks. Yeah, all that conversation. Carla Brown, how you doing? I'm gonna skip down because I know I'm behind. Facts Not Feeling says women need to stop trying to get pregnant to keep a guy. Yeah, I agree with all that. No pushback here. But then, if you ain't trying to be with that woman, stop getting her pregnant. Raven says, oh, when Muslims want more than one wife, people go crazy, Donovan, except for when the Mormons do it. Not a peep. This, any other race, you're not seeing this. We are taught to slaughter each other openly. People don't even have most people don't have a problem when Muslims do it. I think the problem comes in is when you hear a lot of men say they want a whole bunch of wives, but it's like the wives you could take care of. Not you have a whole bunch of wives you could treat like trampolines and she got to go punch a clock. See, that's the way the West is trying to do it. If you're doing it the right way, you got a woman, as many wives as you could take care of. And the women know about each other. She ain't finding out, bumping in, going to Kroger and bumping into your other wife. They all know they're on the same page. So you got to give it some context. Queen of Di says, we don't want to talk about how a young girl gets pregnant is not immaculate. It's conception. Deal with the men equally when dealing with sin. Following the word is what will make sure to train them. I agree with that. Gone Postal, how you doing? Says the Black community being a patriarch is crazy. Oh, a patriarch is crazy. Do tell. I don't know, Mr. South Carolina. I'm mad as she is a regular church member. Polo Styles, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Says too young to get married. Not really. Yes, brother. Reggie, shotgun wedding. What happened to those?
Yeah, in most states, women could get married as long as they have the parents' permission. Yeah. But 16 is the consenting age in most states for consensual sex.
Yeah, where her daddy at? To go knock on. Hey, young man, my daughter's in your family way, and I need you to make her an honest woman. What time would you be ready to go jump over the broom, young man? What happened to that? Where? I'm just saying, where is that? I know for sure, though, 16, I could have got knocked up at 16-year-old, and my dad would have said, well, he'd be like, where he at? Where he at? Where, and I'm asking the men, where y'all at?
Well, when I was, how old was I back then? I was 17. I showed up at your dad's doorstep for your sister. He said, get the hell out of here. Threw me right out.
Today. That's what he said. All right, let's see. Sister Shirley says, I don't believe in marrying someone you don't really like or love. It will turn out to be a bad marriage. Well, yeah, but the premise of that is you like to love that person for 2 minutes at one time when you was procreating. Don't try to get serious now and try to, well, he just ain't my taste. He was your taste a minute ago. You know what I mean? Because that's what they were about back then. I don't care if you like them enough to be married. You liked them enough to be, doing all that you was doing. So now that you're bringing the life into the world, the child's supposed to suffer because, they ain't my taste, they ain't my type. Nah, we got to get past that. Your type is the person you procreating with now. That's your type. I ain't gonna cuss, Brother Reggie. I'm trying to do better. Still says teens always have, and always will be teens. Yeah, I guess I get your point.
Let me read this from Jerry Dupau. Hope I said that right. From Jerry Dupau. She said, they say polygamy is not allowed in this country. So many say that they're into Islamic traditions, but they don't fully go with the Islamic tradition and being married before having a child. I like your statement there, but guess what? Polygamy is allowed in this country. They just don't get married. That's why you see the same girl having, or the same dude having 4 and 5 different girls in the neighborhood pregnant. So, something is going on. It's just that they're not doing it in a legal fashion.
And those dudes ain't taking care of those women. He just using her as a depository. So we should give it the full context. They're not married and he ain't taking care of them. He using those women. They're allowing themselves to be used for kicks and giggles until it ain't funny no more. Just 2 C's. How you doing? Says I agree it should be private as in not shared on the internet, and both parties should be present for the shame. But I don't think we know enough about to say how the situation should go. Fair enough. Entree, he says, if we have too many males and not enough men in our community, oh boy, you stepping on some toes now. JJ says Shahrazad Ali predicted all this over 40 years ago, how the Black community will really suffer from it. Yeah. Yeah, and she got those teachers from the Nation of Islam, so she ain't saying nothing new. But yeah, I get it. RBG says at least she doesn't live in the Middle East. Yeah, but again, it is very austere over there, and they too often give the boy a pass, which is why they tell you. And I've heard this from a young girl: mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Okay. Farrakhan talked about that in the last Savior Day. Minister Farrakhan talked about that in the last Savior Day's address. Women, make sure he's committed to you. Don't lay down with him if he's not committed to you. Because what he gonna do is go off with Susie down the street and have a good time with her while you left holding the baby. Stop laying down with people that you wouldn't marry. And at 16, you don't know anything, right? You just kind of trying to figure stuff out. And then it's like, oh my God, right? Nobody ever thinks they're going to get pregnant until they do, so.
Right. And then for those of you guys that keep bringing up the Middle East, let's not get it twisted. Again, the Middle East, how many of you guys have heard these women going overseas from the United States getting paid $150,000 to be used as a toilet or whatever, a sexual object? In the Middle East, they have brothels and things like that where these guys can go and do, whatever it is they need to do. Again, around the world, that is something that is out there. So the oldest profession, it's no big deal. Only in the United States is it hypocritical to do this. So when people talk about, and I'm not trying to down Middle Eastern people or anything like that, but what I'm saying is, even in Amsterdam, even in some of the Western countries, they have this thing to where people could go and handle their business where they don't have to deal with unwanted pregnancies and all that other stuff. Only in America, do we have a problem and we don't want to solve it.
Yeah, and the operative word is we. Sister Marcella, how you doing? You talking to me? You says, girl, stop rolling them eyes. Donovan is right. Okay, but how you doing? Let's see here. Dirk Wilson said,
I think what he was saying was, like, when I talk and I'm giving a good point, that you're rolling your eyes, but it is what it is.
Dirk Wilson, you said, so you basically saying when you don't subscribe to religion is just really of the devil. And a lot of times that's everybody's choice in modern times, when every knee will bow when it comes to God. Okay. Jamie Mills, how you doing? Says that church looks very spooky to me. I feel sorry for the young lady. The story is sad. Daryl Griffin, how you doing? Says she did that on her own. Also considering that Black women at the top of HIV and abortion list, somebody should say something. I think that they should. But again, those women aren't getting pregnant and getting the HIV by themselves. So we're going to have the conversation of everybody involved. We're not going to just put the onus on the woman. However, the woman should be wise. The woman should ask questions about who she's letting get in bed with her. That's the conversation that we need to be having. Stop having all of this loose sex, whether you a boy or you're a girl, because everybody's going to pay the consequences regardless of whatever it is. And and speaking of HIV, let's have this conversation, because y'all don't want to have this conversation. You know why a lot of these Black women are getting are becoming more and more with HIV? Because they laying down with a lot of dudes who are DL and not saying that they're sleeping with men. So then when y'all saying that Black women are getting HIV and AIDS at a higher rate now, y'all need to talk about the part of why. So don't leave that part off. Let's have the whole conversation. And y'all could Google that. Okay, Ms. Sweet says, who is the father of the young ladies unborn? He should be ashamed too. Bad example for the other youth in the church. Yeah, they didn't have him up there. Hopefully they do know, but then I don't know, right? JJ say, okay, so you're talking to somebody else. Fantasy says it's sad that folks are still supporting the pastor. Oh no, one thing the church unfortunately is going to do is support a pastor who may or may not be walking with God. We see it all the time. Even when the pastor is the one knocking up the girls in the church, the church members often stand behind that pastor no matter what. JJ Diesel, how you doing? Says good evening. Good evening to you as well. Yekuba says, I had a bar mitzvah. I thought I was on punishment, but I'm so glad I had one. Okay. Why'd you think he was on punishment? The average logical thinker says, I saw a video where a guy said his white coworker was having her second kid. He asked about the shower. She said, I'm not having one. I already did the first one. He said, every black person he knows has one for every kid. Yeah, they do, I guess, and other people, other races too. I'm just not going to more than one if it ain't a man involved. Stop inviting me to your baby showers or your children's baby showers, and they got a whole church full of kids and ain't no daddy around. You know, invite me to the wedding or the bridal shower. I love to come to that, but you invite me to baby showers and your babies, your kids just keep having these children out of wedlock. I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, I think I said that last year about my family. I told my family, don't invite me to nothing if they ain't getting married or they're, I don't care. They've been in lifelong relationships. If you ain't married, don't invite me. Count me out.
Jerry, how you doing? He says, I'm all still stuck. I think he meant on the point of if the mother had done her job, lady wouldn't have never gotten pregnant or been anywhere to have unprotected sex. This is a shame on the mom and dad. Well, again, there's no such thing as perfect, right? You can't watch them all the time. But I think a real problem is children are just so unsupervised. Nowadays, parents don't know where they at. They be all up in different people's houses that they don't know, all kind of stuff. And it's like, you don't know your kids, friends, parents, or you're just not in the know. You send the children outside and don't care about what they doing or who they doing it with. So that has to change as well. I know when I was a kid, my mom need to know where we was at all times. We didn't have no cell phones or, none of that kind of stuff. You checked in when you're supposed to check in. And if I call that parent's house and you ain't there, then it's a problem. Do not go anywhere between A and B. You go from A to B. You don't go to C, you don't go to D. And if I find out you did, it's mine. That's how I was raised.
Yeah, but back in those days, Demetria, to send a call, you had to use the blanket and the fire thing, and you had the smoke signals and stuff. No, I'm joking. What everybody's forgetting on this thing is this, and I don't know why as people and mammals, especially as people, we keep forgetting. And this is the one element we keep forgetting. The flesh is very weak. In the heat of the moment, things happen. And I know what you guys are saying, well, this training and that training, whatever. Do you guys realize, and this is what I believe 80% of people on this earth aren't here because our parents wanted us to be here. We just happen to happen in the aspect, if your parents were married, in the aspect of being married. They didn't sit one day and say, you know what, honey, let's get together Saturday and so we can have intercourse and we can make a baby. No, they just were going through their thing and, there was no planning done. We just happened and our parents dealt with it. So when we look at these young people, especially the stuff that's in the food and the steroids and all that other stuff like that, you see these young girls, they are very advanced for where they're at and their stages of life and stuff. But we keep forgetting we're human beings. And like I said, if that girl is getting wooed in the right way, when I mean wooed, like maybe she likes poetry, that gets her stimulated and stuff. And it's the heat of the moment. We keep forgetting these things happen. Not making excuses for anybody out there. What I'm saying is we keep forgetting in the heat of the moment, stuff happens. And this is where we're at today.
Sunlight says, Demetri, serious question. How you doing, by the way? He says, if the parents of the male forced a marriage, how many of the daughter's mothers would allow it? Yeah, it has to be both sides. So back in the day, that wasn't really a conversation all like that. Everybody was in agreement. Because that also meant that now we got to take care of another mouth because y'all was having fun. But what that also taught, it was I'd imagine it was some sort of a deterrent. When you saw your homegirl getting hitched up and maybe she didn't want to, but she had a little bit too much fun with Jim Bob up the street, that was a deterrent. Like, yeah, I ain't trying to be married to him. He cute, but I don't want to be married to him. So back then it was, okay, y'all bring the potato salad and the fried chicken, and we gonna bring the pies and this, that, the other. Who bringing the broom? Bet I'll bring the broom. You got a dress for her? Yes, he's got a nice suit. Well, tell the pastor that they got together was a common thing, right? Nowadays, I don't know. I know that would be me. If somebody knocked my daughter's 32, but if somebody knocked my daughter up, yeah, I'd be wanting to have a conversation with him. I know her father be wanting to have a conversation. See, I'm not of the modern era. I'm in the modern era, but I'm not of the modern era where we just, any and everything goes now. Because that's not how I was raised. My mom and dad were married.
Well, I mean, we also got to think about this, you guys, and I'm not trying to disparage the young lady, because back in the day, a lot of what's his name, Miss Ann's father, he was spreading them seeds in the community, and maybe something happened in a situation like that. That was a big thing in our community, where the girl, she might be having a baby for Mr. Johnson, who's Mr. Upright in the community, mayor, sheriff, whatever. And, we don't know until she has the baby. So maybe that's why the young man wasn't there, because maybe it's not a young man. Maybe it's a other man.
It could be. RBG says these teenagers need to stay out of the beds and enjoy their childhood. Yeah. They grow up. I mean, teenage pregnancy is not new, but and with all this information, it's like, why are we still here? You know what I mean? Jerry says, you do not see any Arabic women in their father's house bringing illegitimate children. Let's call it like it is, because that's frowned upon. Too many of you can't handle the truth. Really, I don't know who this you is, but I get it. Yeah, I mean, it should just be something that's taught. That you don't wait until they get in that area of life and then try to teach them. You teach them from small children. Expectations. My mom used to always say that you have to set expectations on the children and follow through with it. A lot of parents don't set expectations. They just have the kids, dress it up, and don't even teach it nothing, or anything. Just kind of willy-nilly raising a child. You got to set expectations. Lene, how you doing? Says, what about people who are polyamorous? They can be both male and female. Yeah, that's over my head. I don't know nothing about that. I could barely even think about being with one person. That's why I'm single. Yickle says, we need to stop allowing the government to destroy our compass. All that. All right, who else is on here? Jive Turkey, how you doing? Y'all coming with some wild stuff here? Brother Reddy says, don't lay up unless you're ready to pay. Repeat it for those in the back. Don't lay up unless you're ready to pay up. Brother Reggie, we had a conversation all the time when the conversation about child support enters the chat, and I don't know why. Well, when you wasn't ready to pay up, then you shouldn't have laid up. I'm gonna use that from now on. Shut your mouth. If you wasn't ready to pay up, you shouldn't have laid up.
Right, exactly. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys that are laying up are 16, 15 years old, and they can't pay up, and they don't know no better. But Demi, I just want to give you a heads up. You are way behind in the comments.
Okay, I'm about to get down there. So I'm going to skip all the way to the bottom, because I kind of figured that y'all going in. Whew. Facts and Feelings says, my ex-wife was older. She tricked me into a baby when I was younger. She did some things in the bedroom. Okay. Moving right along. Y'all got to go all the way to the bottom, unless I have not seen anybody on here that I saw. Okay, let's see. Yeah. I'm going to the bottom. Everybody so far have acknowledged their comment so far. Sorry. You guys type a lot. Buck Horse, how you doing? Johanan, how you doing? Says poetry laugh out loud. These girls don't want no poetry today. Crazy. Woo. All right, who else is on here? My apologies for reading so slow. Okay. So far I've seen everybody. Sunlight says, I would definitely push for a marriage for my grandson, but honestly, I see a lot of pushback from the mothers. Yeah, it got to change, but they're going to come after you, try to come after your child for, your grandson for child support. It's like, no, let's get them hitched up. Marcella says, I can literally tell you the time of the year, the month that I got pregnant. So yes, you can sit back and plan the time you get pregnant. The reason why we waited, because we want to have fun. Yeah, you could plan it, but a lot of people don't. Yeah, Logical Thinker says, yeah, I talk to my son all the time about that. This starting young, you got to. Cheryl, you says humans have a nature. Indeed. Joanne says, yeah, Arabs and Africans impregnate their own. Ooh, there's a lot of information there. Okay, I got to the bottom. Okay, so let's start with Jerry. It said, Donovan, I respect you 100%. Why be invited to something and you're not even married? That's promoting illegitimacy, and that's a disgrace. Look at Pop the Balloon. Most of the men don't want the women in your comment cut off. Hey, Arson, how you doing? So this says, I hear you, but getting married because you're pregnant doesn't mean you can make it work. That's was my parents, and they still got divorced. Yeah, you know what though? So what do? You get married to somebody that you liked at least for 2 minutes, or you run around and you have a whole bunch of baby mamas and baby daddies. At what point? So y'all, wait. Y'all talk about being held people accountable, be responsible, and shit. Y'all got more problem. Y'all want everybody to shut up about them shaming the girl in church. But when somebody says, "Hey, shotgun," oh no, we gotta, I got to like the person. Oh no, well, then you cross that bridge when you get there. But you shouldn't have crossed the bed until you was ready. As Brother Reggie said, don't lay up unless you want to pay up. Don't tell me I want to be married, but yet y'all are right, or don't want her to be shamed or want her to be shamed. Like, what are we doing here? How do we teach accountability, and how do we teach it for the other ones, the friends, the siblings who watch their brother and their sister, make a baby, and then what are they supposed to think? Oh, okay, they're gonna bring a mama home or a baby home. Mom and daddy gonna take care of the baby, or damn, my sister got to get married. Why? Because she had a baby out of wedlock and they want to make the union legitimate. So what are we going to do here? Like, you want to be married, or you want them to go create more baby mamas and daddies? I'm just asking. At what point do we start making excuses? Like I said, I don't think a mom or a dad should be all right with their teenage daughter or their teenage son. Hell, even whoever, but especially their teenagers, being out there being a single mom, a single daddy, or whatever. Y'all can't work it out. Now all of a sudden y'all hate each other's guts. You don't want to be married because more than likely she gonna go off and maybe have another baby because the mom and daddy gonna be raising that baby. Or the little boy, because it's maybe, right? He's on the maybe end. He gonna be off, as Farrakhan said, with Susie or somebody else, having all these other babies. So what? What do we do? We need to start having those conversations. You need to be a wife first. You need to be a husband. Stop raising baby mamas and baby daddies. That's the conversations we need to have. Don't, like I tell you all the time. People ask me, "Oh, you don't have no grandchildren?" No, I don't have no grandchildren. And why are you asking me about a grandchild and you ain't asking me about no son-in-law? I get it. That's kind of way it goes now, but we need to be having a son-in-law first before we have any grandchildren. When I say we, I mean my daughter. Anyway.
Well, let's ask the question like this. How many of you guys let me ask you, Demetria, have you seen the thing with Melissa Ford? She has this new podcast that she started. And for those of you guys that don't know who Melissa Ford is, she was a video vixen back in the 90s when we were, everybody was having a good time and all like that. She's 48 years old and she's talking this BS about, well, I never wanted kids. And maybe she never wanted kids. I don't know. But again, you've got all these women that are putting out the wrong information out there. And I think, and this is my opinion, I think when I hear women like Melissa Ford and all these people who have never been married, never, I think the problem is we embed in these young women that, oh, girl, you have options, you have time, you have this, go to school, do this, get your career first and whatever. By the time they look, they're in their middle 30s and they're not what they used to be. And they're just out of their zone, because when I was listening to Melissa Ford's podcast, she never really said, she kept saying, well, I was engaged. It doesn't count. If you weren't married, your engagement means nothing. I was almost president of the United States. I was almost a council member. You were never married. And this is the thing, and I think the trick bag a lot of our young girls have been put in their heads to not prioritize marriage. And we're basically telling our girls, put marriage on the backside. We're not just saying just get married to get married, but the point is they're not prioritizing it. And then when they age out, Melissa Ford is still an attractive woman at 48. But I would be surprised at this point if she got married. Ebony, what's that girl? Ebony, whatever, the lawyer chick. She just had a baby and she's glorifying single motherhood. So it's just, I think we're giving our women the wrong message, because again, society, in my opinion, is centered around the female. If you can get to the female, you can either grow a society and uplift a society, or you can destroy it.
And I'm gonna say this: if you women, hello, come close to my microphone. If you are listening to Melissa Ford, who used to be a video vixen and made a name off of her body, there's something wrong with you. As I always say, Megan Thee Stallion ain't no role model for my daughter. Cardi B, none of them. I'm the role model. So the problem is that these girls are going to Melissa Ford or any of them listening to how to be a woman, how to get a man. I don't listen to none of them. I don't even know she had a podcast, right? Because that's not where my bag is, where I'm listening to these people yammer on about I hate men, I hate women. I stay away from all of that. But if you are not your child's role model, stick yourself. And I say that all the time. If your child is looking for womanhood outside of her mama, her grandmama, or a sister so-and-so, and whoever, she looking to the internet and video vixens for how to be a woman, then you're the failure. Because you know why? And this is where the truth is going to hurt a little bit, because your mama probably a video vixen. And she probably getting her advice from the video vixen. So I don't know. I'm not mad at Melissa. She's making money. But she making money off of people who too stupid to go ask their mama, or from people whose mamas aren't saying, hey, this is how you know, how a woman should be, or whatever the case is. But listen to a video vixen, no, that's your fault. Easy says, D, is music influential sexual behavior in young girls? If so, why do you think? And for the reason I just said, because they mamas are asleep at the wheel. They daddies are asleep at the wheel. They're not teaching them the juxtaposition to what they're hearing. So when Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, they put all that on wax about what they're going to do. And I'm just, what they're not telling you is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion probably don't do none of that. But they getting paid. And y'all know who they getting paid by? They getting paid to sell that filth to your daughters because they know you asleep at the wheel. So they know that's going to get into them, permeate them in every way, shape, or form, teach them that being a hooker is what she should be. Take a dude for a ride, get the bag and all that other stuff, because they know they mamas is asleep at the wheel. And like I said, they mamas is probably listening to that too, thinking that's what she should be doing. So yeah, it's very influential, but it's influential to people whose parents are asleep. Okay. Buckhorse, you crazy. I saw your comment. We over an hour. Okay, we're gonna get out here in about 10 minutes.
Has it been an hour already?
It has.
Yeah, that went by quick.
More threads. How are you? I love and appreciate you for that. He says, I wouldn't allow my child to humiliate themselves like this. They are human too. It's usually people in and out of the church with the worst past. That's the most judgmental, or try to shame, or most to say, yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I think it's already a shameful thing that you having a baby at 16. You know, we don't need to drive more nails in the coffin, I would think, you know. But I wonder if they drag, you know, Sister Sassafras up to the church and all the wildness that she be doing up in, you know, out in the public, or whatever the case is. I don't know. JJ says a lot of these young women have no interest in building a future with a young man while both are in school. Yeah, they need to be taught that. We need to teach that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of the girls, like you said, it goes back to their mothers and their fathers, whatever, are teaching them, don't ride with the guy and build with him. He has to come equipped already have the money, already have the bag. And I see that's where a lot of the mistakes are being made, because when that guy does suffer, what was that movie? Acrimony. Is that the one, the Tyler Perry movie?
With Taraji?
Yeah, with Taraji P. Henson.
Yeah.
In that situation, even though that was kind of a far sensical, that is the problem with our young ladies, because if you look at some of these pop the balloon things, you're going to disqualify a guy because he's not 6 feet. You're going to disqualify a guy because, what is it, the 666? How do you know the guy has 6 inches? I don't know, ladies, if you've never been with the guy, but I don't know how you would know that. But think about how ridiculous and that we put this in our girls' heads, that, hey, I can't build with this man because, you know, and I think the biggest thing is these girls think they have the same time as men, and they don't. They think, oh, all my 20s, I'm gonna screw around and do what I gotta do, get my college and stuff like that. And you can do all that all at once. I believe the women can do all of that at one time. You can multitask just like these other girls are doing. But then when you get 35, 40, what man's gonna want to deal with all of that? And you've been in charge and you're a boss chick and all that. Ain't no man gonna deal with that, ladies. It's just not gonna happen. And so,
I would say that's a lie, because there are men who deal with that. There's
no.
I
said a lot. I said a lot of men. There's not a lot of men that are gonna deal with that.
Oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Well, there's
a lot of men who do.
We have a difference. We have a difference of opinion there. But the fact of the matter is, we have to change the narrative with these young ladies to prioritize marriage, because again, ladies, you can't have children after a while. You go through menopause. You guys are on a clock. That's just the fact. And if you don't want to get married, nobody's saying you have to get married. But at the same time, we need to stop bringing in my mom said this the other. I was talking to her like last week. She does not understand in this day and age how a young girl could get pregnant when you've got all of this birth control out there. Because when she was a young girl, you couldn't just get birth control. You had to either be married, but as a single person out here, you just couldn't get birth control. She's like, how are they bringing in these children and they haven't even started their careers? You're 19 years old, you get pregnant, especially in our community, you are almost damned to be in poverty, and now you damn that child to be in poverty with you. So we just got to change the narrative. And the men, again, I'm always saying this, the men need to step up and take care of their responsibilities. It's as simple as that. I know I went through it. If you got to go through this child support system, you just got to go through it, dog. I went through it, and a lot of guys on this thing, we've all been through it, and we made it through.
How you doing, Samuel C says, good afternoon, Queen Demetria. I've always found having children out of wedlock, low class, and degenerate. I grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents are married. I'm old school with it. Yes, my parents were married as well. I unfortunately had a child out of wedlock, which is why I didn't have no more. You know what I mean? I learned early, and I didn't have that type of mama. That's my baby. Let me have my baby. My mom was like, you made her, and you and her father are going to raise her. I'll be here to help you and all that other stuff, but this is your child. And I'm glad that she was like that, because I didn't want to go off and just have a whole bunch of children with men I was not married to. So, yeah, and I didn't have that as an example, I was 21, almost 22, still young in the larger scheme of things, but, I had a job and all of that. I took care of my daughter along with her father. Arson, he says, I'm sorry to say, but what Donovan just mentioned about women, if you agree with it, I will have you all know it's exactly what the late Kevin Samuels used to say, prioritize marriage. Yes, I totally agree with prioritizing marriage, but y'all need to understand, as I said, a lot of y'all men got a lot of criticism for women. Y'all know what women should be doing, what she should be wearing, how she should smell, how she should be doing her hair, how she should be doing the nails, and all that other stuff. But where is the criticism for the men? Because y'all do know Kevin Samuels was talking to y'all first. Kevin Samuels blew up when he was that average at best video when he was talking to the black woman. Excuse me, I choked up. Not like crying, but just choked up. That's when he went viral. Then all the men was, what he said? Oh, he taking women to task. Oh, he taking black women to task. But if you go back and watch Kevin's old videos, he was talking to y'all. And his tagline was, this is the stuff that your grandfather should have taught you. Or your daddy should have taught. He was telling y'all how to wash your behinds of all things. He got a video, I swear for God and all the disciples, telling y'all how to wash your booty. So he was trying to, and then those videos got very low views. He goes low views. He was in a room somewhere. He didn't have all the bells and the whistles and the stuff like he did when he got very popular, because y'all lined up to listen to Kevin Samuels talk about women, but you was absent when he was talking about men. So with that, the woman needs to prioritize marriage. Y'all need to also prioritize marriage, because there's a lot of women who want to be married, but they have not come into contact. I'm not going to say have not come into contact with men who are suitable. And yes, I agree. The 6 foot tall, whatever this case is, hair on his head. Yeah, at this age, they probably all bald. Okay. However, yeah, you should get with a man that's a good man. Leave all that nonsense alone. He got to be looking like Idris Elba. You'd be nice, but Idris Elba's taken, right? But the other thing is true for y'all. Y'all not just going with any old wildebeest walking by talking about I Sean like you, Sean is Kim. Y'all not gonna talk to her. You got to be attracted to her too. So what I'm saying is, why y'all giving the criticism for women? Lower your standards. Hey, maybe y'all need to lower your standards too.
Well, see, here's what you're missing, Demetra. See, this is what you're missing. In a patriarchy, since men have the advantage, we're the ones with the money, we're the ones with this, we're the ones with that, right? I know you don't agree with it, but the fact is, when you're in that driver's seat that could pick out what you want, you can do that because you have the money, you have what it is a lot of women want, so you can have a selection. So you can go through that. Now, should men be so selective? Maybe, maybe not. But the point is, we're in a patriarchy. So we can't have the same rules as a woman. Women are different. Men are different. Men are the patriarchy. We're the ones with the jobs. We're the ones that are the oppressors of women. So if we're the oppressors, that means we're the ones that are on the top, and we set the rules. That's why you have good example, Elon Musk. I think he has 10 children by 4 or 5 different women or something like that. He could do that because he has the money, he has the resources and all that other stuff. That's why it's different. The problem is women keep thinking they're men. Ladies, put your dick away.
And why don't y'all put y'all's out? Because a lot of y'all running around here want to be in women's skirts mentally, okay? So that woman will put, as the late, great Gary Monroe used to say, men, the women will sit down when you stand up. That was a man that said that. So why y'all sitting on here, you, Donovan, giving all this admonishment for women? Imagine how great the patriarchy would be if you gave that same energy to the patriarchy. Now, I know there's a lot of women who y'all deem to be masculine. Is that because maybe the man she dealing with ain't? There's a counterbalance. When the man acts feminine, then the woman is probably going to act masculine and vice versa. So when a man starts walking in his masculinity, then the woman will start walking more in her femininity. It's a balance. So I heard what you said, and I'm here for the rah-rah. But you talk about what women need to put away, then, y'all need to stay out of women's business. Because a lot of y'all don't have the rapport or the resume to even talk to women and tell women how they should be walking and talking and dressing and all of that. Have that conversation with the men.
Right, I agree with you. But see, there you go. The patriarch, you go to any other country, the man sets the standard. Any other country on this earth, wait, let me finish. All I'm doing is telling you the what the world is doing in general. In a patriarchy, the man sets the standards and the rules of how things are going to go. That's why when you go to the Middle East or you go to Europe or whatever, there's a standard of how women are supposed to dress. There's a standard of what women can do. There's rules that the man puts out there. I'm not saying it's right, but we got to understand we live in a patriarchy. This is not a matriarchy society. We live in a patriarchy society, and you got to accept that.
So then why are you blaming the women all the time?
I'm not blaming the women. I'm not blaming women.
Y'all sit up and have all this advice for what women need to do. You just told women she need to put her man part away. But y'all, the patriarchy sets the rules, and then why you have blaming it on the women? Then, and if that's the case, if y'all setting the rules, why ain't nobody following them per what y'all saying?
Okay, I got an answer for you. I'm glad you brought that up. In the last 100 years, in the last 2,000 years, men have fundamentally not changed. We are the same. We have to go out there and work. We have to support our families. We have to do whatever to do. The man has not changed. In the last 80 years, who has changed more, men or women? Women. I want to be free. I want this. I'm a man. I want to be equal to a man. I want to do this. Look at where we're at. It's the woman that has changed the roles. You go into other countries where they've gone through the same thing as the United States has done. The patriarchy is strong. American women do not realize how strong the patriarchy is outside of the United States. Nobody's saying, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying women are lesser. I'm not saying this or that. What I'm telling you is reality. The reality is because you guys want to do this and do that and do this, it is messing up the roles in our society. And that's what's happening. And the simp man or whatever it is allowing it.
So basically, you just blame women again. Yeah, you just
no,
did.
I'm not blaming women. No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I'm not. I'm explaining
Okay.
At the end of the day, men have allowed it. At the end of the day, men have allowed women to be in these positions and whatever, and the roles are starting to switch. And this is the problem we're having. Women want to be in charge. Men aren't, real men aren't going to, I'm not giving up my position. I don't know about these other simp men. I'm not giving up my position. And that's the problem that we're having in our society when you have men and women fighting each other because one wants to be on top of the other. But the fact of the matter is this society is a patriarchy, period.
Yukobe says, Sister Demetra, feminists tore up so much stuff and we're born into dysfunction. That's part of it. That's part of it. Like I said, I know feminism gets a lot of the blame, but it actually goes way back before that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Nubian King says, I always put all my life support when we made Whoopi. Says, I didn't have my son until I was 39, and he's the only child I have. By the way, he's 36. Okay. Fox Phillips says, Donovan is right. Women need to put the D away. And hey, Kerman, how you doing? Thunder, how you doing? Let's see here. Who else is on here? We're about to get out of here. I said that like 10 minutes ago. Namel, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says, nah, bruh, men want to be women.
Yep, you have that going on. You have that going on as well. When you've got about three generations of men being raised by women, some feminine qualities are going to rub off on those men, and they're confused. Father's not there. The father is not there. So there we are.
As Edgy says, in the Western world, the masculinity is not defined by your biological gender, rather the way you walk. I'm just gonna keep reading. Johanan, you says, wake them up. Okay. Namo, you says, I remember girls having to stand up at church and apologize in the 90s. This isn't new. Yeah, I've never seen that. Just 2C's, he says, it's no different here. The men set the tone and standard. That's why it's a hot mess. Men here have set the standard of wanting freakiness all the time. Women did that, and now it's our fault. Nah. Cheryl says, males blame the women. Queen of Dice says, if you want to have the patriarchy, then males should take rightful place in the community, breadwinner, protectors, leaders, etc. You come up against a woman who wants to run things, run. I'm just gonna keep reading because y'all saying it all.
I noticed you're skipping over the ones where everybody says Donovan's right. But go ahead.
You a lie because I was putting them up. So quit lying. Stop lying. Dwayne, how you doing? Says, seems that pussy popping is bad for straight relations. Yeah, I think so. Sister Marcella says, I agree with you, Donovan, because it seems like men don't know how to be men, and women don't know how to be women. Soda says, well, there's a lot of sassy dudes walking around nowadays. You don't want to have that conversation, though. Nubian King says, I second that emotion. These women today are in heat 24/7, and they let the man know when they're ready to get that D. Well, you don't have to give it to her, do you? She ain't taking it from you. You don't have to give it to her. See, men got to have some standards, too. Teach your sons that you ain't got to lay down with every woman that's in heat. Tell him no. Have more standards for yourself. But see, that's not often the conversation that's being had. He's been pat on his back, for soaring his raw oats and all this other nonsense. Yeah, teach your son to have standards too, that every woman he meets is not worthy of his seed. Teach him that. Miss Wee says, why are women so promiscuous these days? Because men run it. They love 304s and easy. Yukuba says, old master set us up good. There we go. Now that's the conversation we need to be having. And unfortunately, we continue to walk into degradation, and we know better. CJ says, men are the leaders, but women are still equally important, just a different function. That's not feeling says, if it was up to me, Black American women would be in a hijab, no short skirts, no twerking, or twerking where you can hear cheeks clapping in public. If private, all that's good, but not in public. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either. I think people should be covered. It should be decent. You're not gonna get no argument from me with that. Cheryl says we don't want to be beat anymore. Most definitely not. Marcella says you say that women that become a Supreme Court justice, she didn't know where the woman was, a Ketanji Brown Jackson. Brother Reddy says the kitchen and the bedroom, James Evans, you crazy. Kermit says women been getting blamed ever since the Adam and Eve story. That's why they don't teach about Lilith. Yes. Okay, let me skip down. Chicago News, how you doing? Says 39 is late to have a child. Some people is not. They're like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do that. Don't ask me, say, did you see the police chief from New Orleans? Can't say that I did. CJ says gender roles keep everything streamlined, laugh out loud. I think so. I don't have a problem with gender roles at all. Not at all. Jerry says, Donovan, most of the women on the pop balloon for the men that have children with no degrees. So that lets you know people are not accepting of children not created in marriage. Yeah, some people aren't. Marshall says, one thing I love here is the dedication of this group now in terms of solutions. How do we get the youth in line again? What is the first step to reestablishing the correct order of things? Or they got to see their mom and daddy doing it first. Mom and daddy can't be off the rails doing any and everything they want. That do as I say and not as I do has never worked. You have to be the example. You have to be teaching your children standards. You have to be teaching them knowledge of self. You have to teach them self-respect. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, Jerome, Jamal, Rashid don't need to be seeing all up under your clothes. Matter of fact, you don't have a conversation below the neck. Your conversations are above the neck. And teach your sons the same thing. Laying down with somebody is not something you do, just willy-nilly, because then you're going to get something perhaps you can't get rid of. You get pregnant and a whole host of other things. It's responsibility to that. Also, because there's any and everything on the TV and the radio, if you are not educating your children first, then those things will educate your children. So we have to go back to the time of when 9 o'clock came, 8 o'clock, and certain programs came on TV. Your mom and them didn't let you sit up there and watch any and everything. Now, even back then, they didn't show a lot of bad stuff on TV, but it was not appropriate for children. Nowadays, some of these parents sit up and watch any and everything with their children. You listen to the worst music in the earshot of your children. You sit up and let them watch all of Tyler Perry stuff. Hell, I don't even watch all of his stuff. I tried to watch one of his last series. It was disgusting. I was like, I'm not going to watch this. But some of y'all, not y'all, them over there, allow your children to sit up and watch all that filth and then wonder why they operate the way they do. As I always say, too, when my mama was on the phone having a conversation with her friends or whatever the case is, I couldn't stop too long. She'd be like, get out my mouth. Keep it pushing. See, some of y'all, not y'all, them have conversations that ain't for your kids to be hearing. You hear all about, the kids hear about what you did last night, who you did it with. You're bringing all kind of Uncle Johnsons and Ray Rays and Pookies all up in the house. The kids are like, damn, Mom, how many uncles I got? I didn't know you had so many brothers. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we should be shielding our children. We should be shielding them from our shame. If you are a mama and you are, as what y'all say, a 304, your children should know that. You know how many kids that are grown now, they know their mama had a whole bunch of uncles and stuff that she was sneaking in because that wasn't their business. I'm not saying it was right, but you got to be the example. You can't be, don't smoke. It's bad. It's bad for you. You got to, because it's not, don't do as I say, do as I say. Don't do as I do as I. That don't work. If the kids, as my father always says, they drink from the parents. So if you are not setting a great example for your children, don't be too surprised when they start doing the things that you do, and now you're seeing them do it, and all of a sudden you don't like it. You should not have liked it when you was doing it in front of them in the first place. So we have to get back to those principles. If not, we're going to continue spiraling out of control. A lot of y'all, I'm going to say this. We'll see. Your daughters, regardless of how old they are, walk up out your house with a skirt as high as a giraffe's, and y'all won't say nothing. Y'all let her do it. Oh, that's how kids gonna be, whatever they can. Y'all don't make none of that hard. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, young lady, I don't know where you got that skirt from, but you need to return it and go back in the room and put on something that's respectable for you to walk out this house. See, some of y'all won't do that. You know why? Because some of y'all women, I'm gonna just say some of the women, y'all skirt is just as high. And same thing for you men. Y'all talk about, I don't know why my son, he got all these women, because you do. Your son ain't never seen you with a wife. You ain't had a wife yourself. And you trying to tell your son that he should settle down to a good choice and you ain't did it? Every time he see you, you got a new floozy in the front seat of your car. But yet you don't understand why he doing it. He doing it because he see you doing it. If you want your son to settle down to a good choice, a good woman, he need to see you do it. And that's how we get back there.
Let me just say this real quick. Ladies, the internet is forever.
K-Son, how you doing?
So some of those ladies out there that are doing what can you hear me?
You might need to turn yourself up.
Okay. I just want to say this real quick for the. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Ladies, just remember the internet is forever. The internet is forever. So for those ladies that are doing stuff strange for the change, just remember the internet is forever. But I want to tell this to the men. You can't be out there with all of these different women in and out your car, going to the club, if you got your kids in the back car and you're spending enough time with your kids. I have never seen a man who has his kids on the weekend and when he's supposed to have them, have time to go to the club and do all that, because you know what he's doing? He's spending time with his children, either in his home with his wife, or if the relationship didn't work out, he's picking his kids up for the weekend. Because remember, Monday through Friday, he's on the job to pay that child support. So you brothers that have all these different women that are doing that, that is why your sons are out here impregnating and emulating you, because they see what you're doing and they're messing up the neighborhood. But if they see that, wow, I remember my dad used to come pick me up all the time and do all this other stuff. He used to take my stepbrothers and mother, we all go to Disneyland and stuff. They're going to do exactly what you do. But if you prioritize your women and you drink and you smoke and all that other stuff over your kids, you're the problem.
Absolutely. CJ says the Lilith spirit is rampant these days. The Lilith, Jezebel, Delilah, you name it, is all prevalent. Raven says, damn, this conversation has turned my sex meter off for the night. So much for the 2 minutes. Save it for a later day.
All you got to do is just Google Pam Grier picture. It'll get you right back up in there. But Demetra, in conclusion here, I don't want to cut you off. I know we're still doing the talking. For this young lady's situation, in conclusion, and we're going to start doing that. We're going to give Demetra's conclusion before we get off. What would you say would have been the proper thing to do in this situation, in your opinion?
And I was just looking at some of these comments. I mean, my thing is, what can you do about it now? She's pregnant. I would definitely, for me, I wouldn't have had my daughter up there. I would just see how we could make better a situation that's not optimal. Nobody wants, I would imagine, their 16-year-old daughter to be pregnant, right? You're 16, you're roughly in the 10th grade or so, give or take. You know nothing, absolutely nothing about life, right? Because if you did, then you probably wouldn't have laid down and let that happen or whatever the case is. But I think that, yes, she should be told, well, what you did is it has altered your life. But I don't think I would have needed her to get up there and be shamed, But we definitely would make plan on how to move forward and how we can incorporate the child's father, whoever he may be, right? I was 21, like I said, when I had my daughter. And I learned because my mom was like, yeah, you and her father had, as Claire Huxtable said, big fun. Now playtime is over. Now you need to be an adult. My mom was there every step of the way, but she did not do the job that I created. I took care of my daughter. And so did her father. We worked. At one point in time, I had 3 jobs. I was fortunate enough to have people who could watch my daughter and want her in daycare. But I took care of my responsibilities. So that's what I would teach my daughter. When you make a mistake, not that the baby is a mistake, right? I believe that most things are divine. but you need to learn how to deal with it accordingly. We're not going to shame you, but we're going to teach you how to be a good mom so that the child that you bring in this world don't do what you did. Not that there's anything wrong per se, it was just the wrong time. You were not married and you're a child. So we want to educate you as to how you don't do that again and you don't repeat the cycle. That's what I would do. But shaming people, I think shame is important, but you should teach your kids shame in the house when they're children, you know? Yes, young lady, you have a nice body, but that's for you and your husband when you get one. That ain't for the world. That ain't for everybody to be looking at you, whatever. So you got to teach those principles at home, but yeah, teach her how to be a good mom so that she can raise good children. That's what I would think should take place. So,
all right. Amen.
Anyway, more thread says, speak D, this is the beauty of you. You admit your mistakes and educate with less judgment. It's a way to do things or say things. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna sit up and say, yes, I wasn't married when I had her. Nah, I met her dad at the club and we did a little bit more dancing.
Wait, stop. I'm not, you guys, I want you guys to understand this. I'm not here defending Demetra, okay? She had a war baby, and that is excusable in the fact that when young men go to war, they have no children usually, and when they come back, one of the first things they do, just in case they have to go back and put their lives on the line, they want to leave something behind. I'm not making excuses for you. I'm just saying, in a situation, you got a Desert Storm baby. I had a Desert Storm baby. That's just what we do. That's just part of the cycle of the life.
Yeah, that Desert Storm baby was made out of wedlock too, and it was a whole lot of hell. I would have rather been in Desert Storm than to go through some of the things I went through with her father. Love him dearly, though. We get along. That's my ace right there. But yeah, that was rough. But we probably should have thought about some things and maybe been married. It was just rash decision. Like I said, we met at the club. We did more dancing outside the club apparently than we did in the club, and then I wasn't dancing in the club no more. Al says, I remember cable TV movies would tell you the rating and the adult content before it started. Yeah, but nowadays people don't care. All kind of stuff be on TV. Like, you let your kids watch that. Like my sister's a teacher, and I think she teaches the 5th grade, 3rd grade. She said they be coming to school trying to tell her about power and BMF and stuff. She's like, oh, no, I don't think we're going to have that conversation. Because first of all, why are you watching that? So I don't know. Shame on you if you're letting your children watch those things. All right. So let's see. About to get out of here. Robert, how you doing? It says people are sharing and comparing. Okay. Alex says Jenna's dad on The Shy made her change her prom dress because he said it was too short and not ladylike. There you go. But some people are scared. Oh no, you can't say nothing to them because they gonna listen. I will snatch a knot in you if you do not go and change your dress. I love you. See, that was the kind of parent I was. I raised my daughter and 2 nephews and a niece. I had all teenagers at one point in time. And trust me, I'm surprised I don't have more gray hairs than I got right now. But that's how I rule. With a lot of love, but I will F you up, and a body slam and a punch in the chest will come with it. I rarely have to do any of that. But guess what? They are all wonderful human beings to this day. Now, I don't believe in violence. Sometimes I do, though.
Yes, and I just want to say this, ladies, since you guys are the center of the family and stuff, stop trying to be friends with your children, especially your daughters. That's not your homegirl. Be a mother to her. Be a mother to these dudes. I get so sick and tired when I go into Walmart and I see the boys in pajamas, and in the pajamas are sagging off their ass and their mama is right there and she doesn't say a word. Be a parent, not a friend.
That's because some of the dudes she with, they pants is hanging off their butt too. So she ain't gonna say nothing to her son because the man she bring home, he doing the same thing, slouching around. I don't want to for the life of me understand a man that wears flip-flops and slides with socks on out of the house. You just see, my daddy wears Stacey Adams pretty much everywhere he go.
Yeah, I remember I saw him cutting grass in Stacey Adams, but
and
true story. Yeah, true story. And ladies, another thing, your sons don't comb their hair. Now, I know you got the little twists and stuff, but come on now. Some of these kids, you can see the lint in their hair. Make your boys be presentable walking outside the house. I saw a kid the other day. He thought he was presentable. I was looking at him like, yo, dog, you really want to go in here looking like that? Yo, what's wrong with this? You look like you just rolled out of bed and you're homeless. That's what it looks like. Ladies, start raising these kids and be the mom, not the friend.
Yeah. I agree with that. Michelle says, I know that I'm late to the discussion, but did they stand up? The boy, she got pregnant by two. I didn't see him up there at all. In the Mixed Radio, how you doing? Says the church should have done something to support her instead of putting her on Front Street. Yeah, the pastor said, we ain't giving you no baby shower. None of that other stuff. Kermit says, we are the church. Who are the church people to demand an apology? What they doing behind closed doors. Hypocrisy runs rampant in our community also. I agree. Raven says, thanks, Donovan. I choose Thelma. The mole in the middle of her head is sexy. Y'all crazy. Yeah, there was no, I guess. A war baby. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Just trying to make sure I didn't forget anybody. Chicago News says, Demetra, was you at the club in Chicago, warehouse, jukebox, in the 80s, house music? Aaron, I was at the Metro in Riverside, California. The Metro, Club Monopolies. I was at the Red Onion. I was at a few clubs, but mostly the Metro. Most of us met our significant others at the Metro. My daughter's father was stationed at 29 Palms, and he and all of his friends would drive out, and that's where I met him. And yeah, we have a 32-year-old daughter, but those were good times. Good times, yes. CJ said, stop wearing house clothes outside. Yeah, I the other day I went to Walmart and I saw 4 ladies, women in a bonnet in the parking lot before we even got in the doggone store. I said, my God. I don't always have my hair combed either, but I'm gonna put a hat on or something, Rose H2O, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Marcella says, if you don't have a man in your life while you have a child, that child has a daddy, or she should not be meeting any other man or woman. They have a parent. Yeah, I agree with that. Just settle down, right? Dwayne, how you doing? Says, didn't wash no type of a. Brother Ray says, I always tell my kids, when you're not going outside and embarrass the family name, straighten up and fly right. There you go. What happened to that type of parenting? Be presentable when you go outside, put some clothes on, comb your hair, wash your face, look like you care. Even if you are just going to the store, you ain't got to go looking like you got dragged out the doggone trash can or the clothes hamper. Just look presentable. You never know who you're going to see. I remember one time I was like 25. And I was getting ready to go to work, but I had to go pay my light bill. But I wasn't ready to get dressed for work yet. I was looking crazy. Okay. And I walked into the light company. I remember the day. Walked in the light company, and the light company's right around.
Real quick, for those of you that are young, back in the day, they had little outlets you can go and pay your light bill and your utilities.
Yeah, that's old school right there. There wasn't no online. We didn't have no online and none of that. So my hair wasn't combed all like that. I had a t-shirt on and some sweats. And as I was walking in there, I bumped into this guy that I dated for like 2 seconds in junior high. And I was like, oh my God, he's fine. He's so fine. But I was looking crazy. He's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, oh my God. And from that point, I was like, yeah, you might want to be a little bit more buttoned up, because you never know who you're going to bump into. I had to learn that the hard way. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Wish I could read all of your comments, but there's a lot of y'all. In the Mixed Radio says, stop wearing them heavy ass bonnets. Yeah, I'd be like, what they smell like under there? That's what I'd be wondering. Like, who did? Never mind. Robert says, a man should not have braids. 48 TCL says, Demetra was throwing that in the circle. Nah, you know what? I never danced like that. When I was coming up in the 80s and 90s, we was groovy. It was rare. In the 80s, they had the dance called the nasty.
Demetra, Demetra was more of that. Remember the BBD? They had the girl background dancer. Demetra was more like that.
That was us. We left the club sweaty. Hair stuck all to the side of your head. Your rayon shirt was glued to you, because we went to dance. We didn't go to. I wasn't part of the cute girl crowd. I was like, where the flow at? Who want to dance? That was me. That's how I met my daughter's father. I swear, for all the disciples, When I saw him and his homeboys had a routine. And my daughter's father is very acrobatic, if you will. He was doing backflips and doing the splits and, all of that. I was like, what?
Big Daddy Kane.
My daughter's father looks just like Big Daddy Kane. Well, when he was younger. Now it's a little mixture between Bismarcky and Big Daddy Kane. But yes, he is fine. Oh my God, that dark chocolate, dead on Big Daddy Kane, dead on. Anyway, let me stop. I also as a boy in high school, like my sister, who had a very white voice, and my mom didn't let her date him. Yeah, because she's like, he got a very white voice. What else he got that sound grown? Yeah, Arson Monique did tell the women to stay up out the bonus. Mindful moments, how you doing? Says that was a hassle for comb your hair, clean yourself up before going out. Yeah, and for me personally, I'm a natural, my hair. So sometimes I just be wanting to go out real quick, or if I go to the gym, I ain't gonna be doing my hair. So yeah, I throw a hat on, and now it's cold enough for me to wear a beanie. But if I'm gonna go somewhere, yeah, I'm gonna do my hair and all that. But yeah, I definitely agree. You should be presentable. All that other stuff is crazy. But I just mind my business. Easy said Southwest just made an announcement. No bonnets allowed on the aircraft for real. Because they gonna have a whole lot of empty seats up in there. TW, how you doing? Says my first corporate job was very conservative, no facial hair for men, and you had to wear a tie, a nice dress jacket, slacks for women. They didn't play. Yeah, nowadays you go into somebody's place of business, they looking all kind of crazy. You could go on somebody's business and they got a bonnet on. Believe it or not. Kermit says, well, you got young men wearing yes, the men are wearing bonnets too. If you think I'm lying, go to Walmart. They got on bonnets. It's like, where they daddies at? Do you know the Tasmanian devil that my dad would do if he saw my brother in a bonnet? It would be curtains if he saw him in a bonnet. My daddy get the stutter, and that means it's over. It's curtains after that. Newbie King says, Dimitri, he was dancing, prancing, and then romancing. Yeah, the romancing got me caught up. I didn't go to the club after that. I became a mama. Hey,
and Dimitri had a crew. She had a whole crew. Matter of fact, the base wants to give her a medal for her supporting the troops. Thank you, Miss K. We appreciate everything you've done.
I want that patch behind you. Then I want that patch. I'm going to need some bars too. Okay. I need me some dress blues and all of that for the work that I put in, taking me and my homegirls to the bases. We went here, we went there, we went everywhere, supporting all the troops. 29 Palms, Camp Pendleton, Irwin, Norton, March Air Force Base. We were there.
El Toro, forget El Toro and all the ladies over there.
I'll tell you a story all the time. Whenever we go 29 Palms, that's when my baby daddy was, okay? 29 Palms. We be all excited. We couldn't wait to get there. It's like a 2-hour drive or so. It was a long drive. Couldn't wait to get there. We all had my 1979 Mustang hatchback packed. It was packed from all the ladies, right? It was looking good. We was smelling good. We had our asymmetrical bobs and all kind of stuff. We was up there, and then we had to get sponsored on, right? So they sponsor you on, and then we go, hang out with some of the guys or whatever. Then, they kick you off. And we stayed until they kicked you off. And then we got in the Mustang. Do you know it took all of us to drive back? I'm like, I'm tired. I got to fall asleep. And then somebody else to drive. I'm tired of falling asleep. It take all of us to drive back home, man. Those were the days. Whew. When my niece creates her time machine, I'm going to get in it, and I'm going to go back there. So if y'all don't find me, you know where I'm at. Yes, Mr. Norris, Blacks used to dress classy everywhere. We need to get back to that. At least look like you took a bath, right? Anyway, Moni, she's saying hello to Donovan. I'll let y'all have that, but how you doing? All right, I'm going to get out of here for real. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We will see y'all Tuesday, and then we'll have our podcast as well. So in the meantime, you guys, please have a great rest of your evening. Peace.